This presentation, we are going to start the second session of this Lanka Property Show, and herewith we are officially releasing our edition of Sri Lanka Real Estate Market Outlook Report 2026. And this is the content which we have covered in our Outlook report. So I'll start with macroeconomic environment, and then I'll brief about the real estate market. Last couple of few years were not so much good for us, as we've been hit by in 2019 by COVID-19 pandemic, and then we hit by economic crisis in 2022. All the macroeconomic indicators went out of control. So after that, with the IMF regulations and everything, Central Bank of Sri Lanka were able to manage and recover the economy. But after that, then again, in 2025 last quarter, we been hit by Ditwa cyclone. So according to the World Bank reports, the loss of Ditwa is around $4 billion. But with all these circumstances, Central Bank of Sri Lanka were able to maintain all these economic indicators in a healthy way. So if you look at GDP growth, according to the central bank, it's around 5% at the moment, which means we are steadily growing from the last couple of years. And if you see that real estate industry contribution to the GDP, it's around 3.5% according to the first half data. And if you see this average lending rate, according to the latest update, it's around 11.6%, which means if you are a developer and if you need to finance for your real estate investment, this is kind of a healthy rate. And if you are a buyer, I must say most of the commercial banks have started their loan scheme for housing loans from 9% onwards. And if you look at inflation, at one time we were around 70% inflation, but however, with the time being, now we are in a healthy inflation level, which means positive single digit level. This inflation helps to grow the country's economy. And if you look at average treasury bill is around 8%. According to the morning session presentation, you could see average apartment price increase around 15% and within the construction period. So if you are getting more than this percentage, definitely your investment will get better return. Yes. With all these macroeconomic indicators, according to the BOI, we have received over $1 billion FDI proposals during last year. So which means we have that investor confidence, and we are steadily the market after all these circumstances. Right. If you look at construction material cost, you can see after 2021, with the macroeconomic pandemic, all the material prices spiked suddenly. But after that, after 2023 onward, we see the price stagnated. Most of the material prices have come down, but as an overall, we see stagnated price movement during these years. Right. Before moving to the real estate market, you have to have kind of general idea about search traffic for the real estate market. So according to our analysis, around 70% searches are coming from local market, and the rest 30% is coming from overseas market. And if you analyze this 30% market, it's coming from USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, and other GCC countries. So these are the countries the Sri Lankan who are living in abroad living in. So the Sri Lankan who are living in abroad now think they reinvest in Sri Lanka. So if you are promoting your products to the audience, so you have to identify this kind of segments and to whom you are catering and you are promoting your products, right? So this residential condominium market, under this I'm going to explain about the supply and rental and sales price analysis and the demanded locations, right? So you can see the first chart, the residential condominium supply by unit wise. According to our data, as of 2025, we have recorded 43,500 apartment units and another 15,500 plus apartment units still in the pipeline, which is to be completed by 2030. So altogether, we see 59,000 plus apartment units by the end of 2030. So which means we have that potential supply. And if you can see that other chart, most of the around 94% apartments are located in Western Province, and out of that, around 87% located in Colombo district. When it comes to the sales market, in secondary data, you can see slight drop in high luxury apartments, but when it comes to the luxury and semi-luxury, we see steady growth in Colombo 1 to 15 and Colombo suburbs as well. And these are the demanded locations for residential condominium for sales. And we have ranked top 10 countries, top 10 cities. Right. So as you can see in the first chart, Sri Lanka is the affordable in terms of asking prices. The countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, Taipei, their asking price is really high. But in Sri Lanka, you can have that same luxury amenities and the feel at a lower cost. And also, if you have purchased or if you are willing to purchase an apartment in Sri Lanka, the average rental yield is around 4.4, which is a really impressive. And we are giving a competitive rate within that region. And when it comes to the rental market, we see price increase 2024 onwards. And when it comes to the Colombo suburb market, we see in luxury segment from 2022 onward, we see the stagnated and steady price growth. So these are the demanded rental, demanded locations for rental. So let's go on to the residential housing market. With compared to the apartment market, we see from 2022 onwards, we see a significant price increase in Colombo 1 to 15 housing market. And when it comes to the Colombo suburbs market, we see kind of steady price growth compared to the Colombo 1 to 15 area. And here is the demanded locations for sales. As you can see, Colombo 7, the prime residential location is on the top. And for the rental as well, we see the same pattern continued in Colombo 1 to 15 and Colombo suburbs as well. From 2022 onwards, we see the continuous price increase for rentals. And these are the demanded locations. So when it moves to the land market, so we can see the search traffic for land. Out of all the searches, around 20% searches are coming from local, and then the rest 30% is coming from overseas market. And you can see the overseas market according to the country wise. Australia, UK, USA, Canada, and UAE make most searches from the overseas market. And when it comes to the searches by land type, you can see most of the searches are coming for bare lands, and then land with houses, and then beachfront land. So if you are looking to invest in lands, so these are the top land types to be invested. Recently, we released our land price index, and we updated our land price index data as well. So from 2023 onwards, we see the same pattern which we experienced from 2018 onwards. And also, if you could look at this land price index, from 2023 onwards, we see the clear price increase. These are the top price increase cities in Western Province in terms of asking prices. So Colombo 9 came into the top of the list, and then Paliagoda, Yakkala likewise. And you can see the 5-year price increase as well. So according to the data, Paliagoda shows 185% price increase. And cultivated and beachfront lands, you can see the average price per acre for tea land is around 5.8 million. And for a rubber land, it is around 6 million. And then for a coconut land, it's around 8 million. So these prices can be changed due to various factors like crop maturity, crop type, accessibility, and land shape likewise. So with things, these are the averages. And when you look at the average price per perch for beachfront line, gold shows the highest price in terms of asking prices. We show 4.6 million per perch, and then you can see Mount Lavinia, Waligama, Talpe, and then these are tourist destinations. So if you are looking to invest in beachfront lands, so these are the top price increased and heavily searched areas. Right. So when it comes to the commercial space, we see there are two different commercial spaces. One is Colombo commercial office spaces, and the other one is commercial retail malls. So when it comes to the commercial office spaces, the general rental rate is around 170 rupees per square foot. But if you are looking CBD area, especially in Colombo 1, 2, 3 areas, the average rental rate is around more than 300 rupees per square foot. And when it comes to the grade A office space, according to our analysis, we see 3 million plus square feet in the current market. And also we expect another 1.7 million square feet grade A office space will be added to the market by 2030. And if you need to rent a grade A office space, the monthly average rental rate would be around $1.6 per square foot. And then we recently conducted a research to identify penetration by category in key retail malls. So according to the research data, we see 33% dominated by clothing, fashion and accessories, and then food and beverages, and then again personal care and cosmetics likewise. And when it comes to the commercial retail mall lease rates, it depends with the category and the offerings, but generally it's ranged between $1 to $3.5 per square foot. And when it comes to the tourism market, this tourism industry highly impacts the real estate industry. As per the SLTDA records, tourist arrivals, according to the data, in 2018, we record 2.3 million tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka. And then with the COVID pandemic and economic crisis, we lose that momentum. But after that, with all the structural reforms, we were able to gain that momentum again, and we record all-time highest tourist arrival to Sri Lanka as 2.4 million tourists in 2025. And also, according to the latest reports and their predictions, ministries and tourism authority looking to target 3 million tourist arrival within this year. And according to the latest data, you can see in first panel we saw the India came to Sri Lanka heavily, and as per the record, you can justify it. India came to the top of the list, and then UK, Russia, Germany, China likewise, we have the arrival percentage. And if you look at that 2025 picture, most of the tourists came from Europe region, 49%, and then 44% tourists came from Asia and Pacific region, and the rest came from America, Middle East, and Africa. So based on these data, so here's what we have to 2026. According to the analysis, in secondary market, we saw 2.5% price increase in 2025, and we'll expect the same movement will be continued for the next year as well. And we have an impressive rental yield around 4.5%. And according to the last land price index data, we got 9% price increase. And for the commercial spaces, you'd be able to have a grade A office space for $1.6 per square foot. And if you are looking for grade B office space, it's $0.50 per square foot. And then if you are looking for a retail mall space, you'd be able to get that space for $1 per square foot onwards. And if you are looking to purchase any apartments in secondary market, these are not primary market, but in secondary market, you will be able to find out semi-luxury apartments from 18 million onward. And then if you want to find out any luxury apartment, you will be able to find out any apartment from 32 million onwards. And then a high-end luxury apartment will be able to find out from 59 million onwards. Right. So as we discussed earlier in the panel discussion as well, so with the current ongoing tense situation in Middle East, we have an opportunity to grab it. So with that, what my concern is, if you are a developer, so this is the time to showcase your developments to the global audience and attract overseas investors and buyers. And if you are a policymaker, so you have to come up with kind of investor-friendly policies to attract other investors and build investor confidence to attract more investors immediately. And if you are an investor or if you are a customer, so what you have to do is you have to study the whole market and get the investment decision by considering long-term market trends and outlook. And yes, throughout my presentation, I presented a brief analysis of this report. So if you are really need to get an idea about the whole market, so you can reserve your copy now. So by scanning the QR, so you can get registered. Once you get registered, we'll be sending the copies immediately. So thank you so much.